Onions.
Onions, game of onions, game of onions, game of onions, game of onions.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Red Onion, where we attempt to answer some of life's most deep-rooted questions. Today, we take on the topic of who the greatest fantasy football side in the world is. We have with us two exquisite football managers who have spent tens of days lost in the cosmic depths of Football Manager and Dungeons & Dragons to illuminate the answer to this most pressing of fictional questions. My name is Referee O.N. Ion, a being whose only purpose in life is true impartiality in the quest for truth in fake worlds. Gentlemen, could you introduce yourselves to a multi-dimensional audience and please say some opening words?
Yeah, I'll go first. And so my name's Eddie. Yeah, I'm managing the villains team. I've had to handicap myself several times because I'm up against, should we say, some limited opposition. Because let's face it, the good guys never win.
Just to clarify, Eddie did say the villains team, not the Midlands team that I heard from this side of the radio. And you know, it's just an indicator of the limited intelligence of a villains team. And
okay, that is slander against the Midlands, and that will not stand. That's a very valuable part of the UK.
I said villains.
Apologise.
Well,
yeah, but you sounded like you're slagging off the Midlands.
I said villains, you said Midlands, but considering that
definitely
is
said
it Aston
villains.
Villa who call themselves the villains, so there's a kind of element of truth in this. But yeah, we are certainly not saying that anyone from the Midlands is limited in.
Well, I'm certainly not saying that. I can't speak for you.
Well, you did, anyway. Yes, and I am the other manager representing the heroes, and I'm already confident with this, social faux pas let loose by my opposite number. This is exactly the kind of press box popcorn, but which is disabling for the opponent's dressing room.
Thank you very much for your very cosmic introductions, gentlemen. Let me remind you of something. The rules of this game are simple. A 5v5 game of fantasy football, which will take place in the Bulbous Crack, a sprouting of AstroTurf 45 meters into 30, surrounded by a ramshackle half-bulb stadium, a spattering of trees, and plenty of long grass, where wild onions not only survive, but thrive in these darkest of times. Gentlemen, you will now take alternative turns of 30 seconds each to tell us about each of your choices and why they have a spot in your team. May I remind you that this is a quest for fictional truth, and you shall keep that fact in your imaginary souls as we continue. Edward, would you like to begin?
Sure thing. So I'll start with my goalkeeper, I suppose. So in goalkeeper, I have the Lord Ruler from Mistborn, Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. So he's practically an immortal being. He's been an emperor for about 1,000 years in the first book. He has all kinds of magical powers that you find in Scadrial, which is the world in which it's set. And yeah, he's going to be a formidable opposition for you in goal. I liken him to Rene Higuita from the Colombian team of the 1990 World Cup. Very acrobatic, sweeper keeper, aggressive style. Love to see it.
Fantastic. A most pleasing choice. Lawrence.
I'm happy to hear that suggestion, gravely deferential referee Ion. Yes, my goalkeeper, my goalkeeping hero is King Boomy from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Brilliant goalkeeper, master earthbender, can detect movements in the ground, can conjure rocks as potential shields. He has a whole range of abilities. Yeah, he's definitely a sweeper keeper, much like the opposing numbers. And I would liken him to also Rene Higuita, but also I think there's a lot of Oliver Kahn in there.
Oh, Oliver Kahn.
Wonderful. In a time of climate uncertainty, it is great to have such green choices make the fold. Edward.
So I have a lone defender who I would liken to a taller, armor-clad N'Golo Kante. So I have the Lich King from World of Warcraft / armor-clad N'Golo Kante. So I have the Lich King from World of Warcraft / Warcraft 3. So he's a necromantic lord who rules an entire continent. He's master of the undead, commands frost and necromantic powers, and he has a sword that can drain the souls of his opponents. So who better to protect your goal line?
I must also add as a fun fact that myself and young Prince Arthas once did coke off the coast of Belize together with John Denver. Laurie.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I saw that.
Christ, not a bendy bus. Yes, in defence, I've got an unconventional choice for a defender, but a great reader of the game, Gandalf the Grey. He is also my team captain, so I feel like I need to talk a little bit more about him. Team captain because I think Gandalf the Grey, who will then also resurrect eventually in this game to become Gandalf the White, proved that he could conduct and manage from afar a whole enterprise across Middle-earth to get that one ring into Mordor. Obviously, Frodo and Sam had to do it, but the victory was ultimately Gandalf's victory as much as anybody, and he really pulled the strings for that one. So yeah, I think he's a natural choice as captain. I would
Another
like
fantastic choice.
I would liken him most to would actually be Carlos Puyol.
Oh yeah, probably a bit slower than Puyol, if that's even possible to believe.
Well, despite what Edward says, your choice brings tears to my eyes, my friend. Or perhaps it's the wild onions. Who knows? Edward.
So I'll start with my captain in midfield. I have two midfielders. So my captain is John Irenicus, who's the main antagonist from Baldur's Gate 2, which is probably the best video game of all time. He's an elf. He's very old. He's highly intelligent, very powerful wizard. He spends the whole game kind of taunting the protagonist, which is your character. Yeah, very powerful magic, but highly acrobatic because he's an elf. Very intelligent, very shrewd, very cunning, everything you want. I would liken him to Xavi, the recent Barcelona legend. But, you know, in many ways, what can he not do? He's got many more strings in his bow than Xavi ever had.
Well, I must say, a perfect denizen for the bulbous crack today. Lawrence.
Controlling my midfield and really, I needed somebody who could give me everything to give the next two selections the chance to play, and who gives you everything, quite like Mace Windu from Star Wars. He's just your ultimate all-rounded midfield player. You can do a bit of everything. Known as the champion of the Jedi Order in that particular time, so a great defensive midfielder, also brilliant as attack, has 4 levels of mastery. Those passes will be accurately guided, and that bald head will obviously come in handy for headers. He can come late into the box from behind. Jedi speed and acrobatics. I'd say the player he's most like is probably Zidane, or maybe Jorginho Wijnaldum.
Cool, interesting
Wonderful.
choice. Yeah.
I personally would describe Mace Windu as Mr. Versatility, so that is a fantastic choice for your midfield, Lawrence.
Also, can I add on something there? It's a very good choice because when this inevitably gets made into a blockbuster, we've got Samuel L. Jackson ready to play.
Straight away.
And I mean, who doesn't want to work with Big Sammy?
As well.
Oh,
as long as it's like a reasonably good sized budget, he'll do it.
Big Liverpool fan, isn't he? I think.
I didn't know that. You've been watching The Fifth Element again, I think.
Cool. Yeah. So my partnering John Irenicus in midfield, I have Darth Maul, also from Star Wars. So I have him as he appears in the Clone Wars with robotic legs and all. But he's acrobatic Sith, very strong force abilities, an adept combatant. I'd say he's going to play in this game at least quite a lot like Lionel Messi, but with an acrobatic flair. But Lionel Messi before he moved up top, so when he was still in the midfield, cutting in from out wide, just dribbling the ball through people, no worries, no hurries, no worries. Well, some hurries. It's going to be pretty fast.
Lawrence, your 4th player, please.
Excellent. Well, connecting up really the glue of my whole team. My MVP, playing both as a striker but also as a wide midfield player, Aang from The Last Airbender.
Oh, man.
I mean,
I knew it.
He has everything at his disposal. He's creative. An airbender is obviously the bending force of expression, so he's a very, very astute, intelligent, creative player. He can trick his way past a lot of situations, take all 4 of your players out to try and deal with him at one time. Faster, unrivaled speed, faster than anything onto the pitch, airbending guided crosses, but also the other 3 elements to help come in handy, and above all, can go into the avatar state and perform a Messi style dribble. And talking of Messi, obviously the player that I would liken Aang most to is Lionel Messi, with that sort of Thierry Henry humour and cheek in him as well.
Oh my days.
Wow. I would just like to add.
Go Go on.
I would just like to add that my playful, childlike spirit has often been compared to Aang the Airbender, so I truly appreciate your choice.
Indeed, but none of
Fits that voice.
the intelligence or the power.
I think, of course, you'd compare Aang to Henri. Laurie, that's so arrogant of you. Wow, can't believe it. So, all right, me next, right? So my secret weapon, as my lone striker, I want you to think Peter Crouch, except taller, about 150 kilograms of muscle on him, and significantly faster. I have Casa Orlon, or Toblakai from the Malazan Book of the Fallen series. So he's a bit more of an anti-hero than a villain. But I mean, how many hundreds of murders and rapes do you need to commit before anything you do can actually redeem you? I mean, kind of impossible, really. But he's an incredibly resilient character, probably the most determined creature that ever lived in a series full of determined creatures. He's faced down opponents far more powerful than he is and defeated them with ease. All he is supreme confidence, and he's kind of unmatched. So who better to put up top? So I guess in many ways, not just Crouch, but Zlatan. But but unlike, well, I guess Zlatan could back it up, but Carson more so, I'd say.
Wonderful choice yet again, my friend. That sounds like an incredibly strong team of 5. My friend Lawrence, would you like to pick your final player?
Yeah, I'm not surprised that Eddie went for a big lumpy number 9 up front. I mean, that is pretty traditional for villains and for Edward Landon himself. I have gone for a minute, a sort of deceptive false number 9, someone who can get on the end of team moves, someone who's incredibly quick and has the arrogance to play up front. Arya Stark from Game of Thrones, I think she's perfect.
You're joking.
Perfect lethal assassin for being up front. She is an assassin. That is what you've got to be as a striker. You've got to be ruthless. You've got to be clinical. You've got to have pinpoint finishing. You've got to get on the end of team moves. We've seen her do that from, admittedly, a very core episode of Game of Thrones, The Night King. Who gets on the end of the team move? Arya Stark. There's no one quite like her at doing it. And yeah, she has the confidence to play up front. I would liken her most to a Luis Suarez or a Samuel Eto'o.
All right, can I just say, if you're using examples of Game of Thrones Season 8 to justify your choices, I think you've already lost.
But they are canon, Eddie, as far as...
I think that's the problem. Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah, good choice. I start very fun.
Perhaps the canonical nature of Season 8 is something we can overturn at the next Court of the Red Onion. Anyway, gentlemen, in an imaginary duel of this nature, it's always likely that injury and perhaps death will take place. I therefore bestow upon you, with my powers as referee, the ability to pick one substitute each, which may enter the field at a point later on during this wondrous fray. Edward, would you like to choose your substitute?
Yeah, so I originally had a different substitute, but I figured my first 5, I guess is what we'd call it. It was powerful enough that I didn't really have to worry about too much. So I just went classic villain. You love to see it, just a cave troll from Lord of the Rings. Big fun. Gives me a plan B. If you need someone who's big and weighs a couple of tons that you just need to throw on the pitch, I mean, who else are you going to call on?
You do get to turn around to the assistant ref or your own assistant manager if you've got a nervous look on his face and just say, "We have a cave troll."
Exactly.
For that alone.
And Lawrence.
My substitute, a real team player, very enthusiastic, can play in multiple of different positions on the pitch. I think Chewbacca, 7'2", incredibly strong. Has a bowcaster to attack from range and defense if nothing's going on near him, because let's be honest, most of the players going to be in your end, Eddie. A technician can help repair droids. A technician, because he's so savvy with repairs on the Millennium Falcon, I think it'd be wrong to assume that Chewbacca would be a blunt style of footballer. I think he's got quite a lot of craft in there as well, and that shouldn't be forgotten. He's also packing the lunches. I think he's definitely keeping the team fed and supplied, along with first team healer Katara. I think the player he's most like would be John Charles, the old Welsh striker who used to play attack and defence for Juventus, or Yaya Toure, someone who can get up and down the pitch very effectively and play in multiple of different good positions.
Yeah, I think quite a good choice of substitute, actually. Much better than your first 5. Also
a true crowd pleaser. I think many a young child watching this game across the multiverse will truly cheer for Chewbacca.
Everyone like Chewie. The sidelines when he's warming up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, gentlemen, As fascinating as this discussion has been, you have picked your favorite heroes and your favorite villains, and this may sprout much joy. However, it is imperative that we understand why they work as a bunch rather than siloed onions.
Would you like to take this one first, Laurie?
Sure. Well, I think you might be asking me, why have I really only gone with one midfielder? That's because I think Gandalf can push up. King Boomy is such a good sweeper keeper. He gives everybody the freedom of movement up ahead, allowing them to all combine for team movements. Ang and Arya Stark, two young, plucky, brilliant finishers, very creative individuals. I think that's a natural partnership up there. And Mace Windu has the confidence, the reliability, and Gandalf as overall captain's backing to really run that, to keep those two strikers in check, and also help keep the spine strong. I think that's a team which naturally gels together. Chewbacca is there to help every single one of them out, and I think when Chewbacca comes on, we have to employ something called the Chewbacca defense, which is he basically goes up and mobs anybody who's near with any of my players with the ball.
Oh, please try that! I dare you.
Gentlemen, please let us keep the events of today civil and peaceful, at least for the next 2 minutes or so.
Yeah, cool. So me now. So why does my team work so well together? Well, I think you've got a little bit of everything. They're all a bit magical. They're all generally, apart from the Lich King, pretty fast, which I think is pretty, in a small pitch especially, is a big advantage. You've got, for the most part, they're all highly intelligent individuals. Castle always seems a bit brutish, but he has a barbarian cunning about him, and he's often underestimated. If he wants to turn this into a slugfest, I'm fairly certain we will defeat him in combat, so that's fine. By having so many magically attuned players, I can influence the battlefield in ways he may not be expecting, which I think will give me an edge of surprise as he takes time to react. Oh yeah, we'll see, Pat, we'll see. Yeah, I just think we've got players who can fill in at different positions, so we're going to play a bit of a total football style, have one person go forward, swap my quarterback around. It's going to be exciting, I think. Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, gentlemen, I'm fully aware that about 60 seconds ago, I came out and said that let's keep this civil. However, I did let you know that in about 2 minutes, that civility could end. Gentlemen, each of you will now have approximately 60 seconds to, put it formally, shit talk your opposing team. This may take whatever form you feel is best to break their ego before the actual game begins. And Lawrence, let us begin with you once again.
Well, I think this is easy. Referee, I think this speaks for itself, really. I can't remember anybody on Eddie's team except for Darth Maul, because they're utterly irrelevant. I mean, they all come from diminutive franchises that do not speak to the natural stardom, but also substance of my team. You can't remember any of them. They're all repressed necromancers in charge of their very little worlds, without much attention, and this is why they've all kind of come onto the pitch. But you've got, like, listeners at home, you've already forgotten who these people are. Who is Malazan? Has Eddie even read Malazan? I don't know. I researched quite a few people in this list who I could potentially put in my team, but none of them have the heart, the soul, the abilities, the scene intelligence on big canon visual mass media and in fiction that have captured the attention of millions. Eddie's team, well, go ahead. Darth Maul is, is a shit Darth Vader. Like, just for example, your best player is one of the weakest villains.
He's my worst player. So it's glad to see how badly you've read my line.
Yeah, well, the rest of them, they will be casting powers over the heads of my players. They will be nipping at their heels all around them. The whirlwind which is about to engulf you is going to be most enjoyable.
Okay, then.
Gentlemen, I would temporarily like to take your attention to the 2003 film Peter Pan. Within this film, the magical law around belief and the amount of people that believe in a said character truly plays out. So I believe Lawrence makes some very valid critiques of your team, Edward. If no one believes in them, how are they going to make an impact on the pitch?
But we're not in Neverland, so I mean, the Peter Pan analogy doesn't really work. So
this is a crossover universe.
So he's saying
it all applies.
Okay, it all applies to that. Well, he's saying it's the same idea though as in Malazan, actually. How many followers you have tends to influence the power of the ascendant. So it's interesting you mentioned that. Laurie has a go, says the franchise, like, my franchise is what, diminutive and unheard of. I mean, he's just showing his ignorance. I think he's gone for crowd pleasers with popular characters, and he can do that because he's playing the heroes. As the villains, you have to make certain pragmatic choices. I don't think there's much competition. I'll probably take this 1v5. And Laurie, I'll let you pick the one. You know, I feel like not only is he a poor team, poor choices, poor management all round. Like, I mean, he's put a pensioner in defence. What's the man playing at? You know, this is he's playing to the crowd, and that only gets you so far in football because results on the pitch do be talking. So we'll see, won't we?
Lawrence, would you like a spattering of seconds in order to respond to Edward?
Only that who calls Gandalf slow is a fool, as anybody who's actually seen Lord of the Rings will remember. But
Relatively slow.
anyway,
We'll see.
Eddie will inevitably, all these characters from very tedious, fantasy novels that, again, doesn't come back to it does come back to my ignorance of them. It's because they're poor and I can detect it from a mile off. Why would I read them? So that I am sticking with the characters which I believe are worth being invested in. And I think it's poor choice on your part, despite whatever OP powers they may have in their very unbelievable and unengageable universes. We will see on the pitch.
Gentlemen, please. I must profusely thank you for all your points made thus far in this quest for imaginary truth. Yet, we must all accept that our words can only take us thus far. Would you both oblige me by taking a deep breath Gentlemen, would you please oblige me by taking a deep breath each?
Yeah.
Do you smell that? The sour tang of wild grass, the cheers of tens of imaginary children as we enter the bulbous crack. Gentlemen.
Is it worth pointing out that I can only smell what the rock is cooking? Is that an issue?
He's on grill.
My old friend, I believe you're going to need to take another breath and enter the right universe, please.
Okay.
Gentlemen, prepare to have your teams face off in a fictional duel of the ages in order to determine who the ultimate fantasy team of all time is. The rules are as follows. You both confirm exactly where each of the players stand on the pitch to begin. Once this is done, a coin toss shall determine who goes first and starts with the ball, a standard issue 2010 Jabulani. From there, you shall go turn by turn, having a few seconds to describe what your active player is currently doing, which includes their direction of movement, a key action like dodging, passing, shooting, tackling, or using an ability, etc., etc. You may, whilst another player is moving, say counter, in order to interrupt if you have, for instance, set a trap or have a valid counter which is in range. 2 false counters will count as a foul and provide a free kick or penalty to the opposing team. Other things which count as foul play include purposeful destruction of the pitch and purposeful incapacitation or murder of another player.
Oh, who would commit murder? Oh wait, he has an assassin up front.
Furthermore, magic only emanates from a 10-meter square radius of each player, and if this wasn't obvious before, gentlemen, this is a game of football, therefore teleportation is banned. Finally, I, as referee, have access to one 20-sided onion dice, which is exactly like a regular D20, but makes my tear ducts explode with too much contact. This shall be used only in the case of an impasse between player abilities, absolute uncertainty of a situation, or when shooting in goal. A pungent breeze tickles the back of your throat as you enter the bulbous crack. In the half onion stands a spattering of about 20 spectators sits there watching, nearly half of them asleep. As the wind blows through the jade grass, wild onions sing their natural song. Their language is old, older than the mountains and younger than the breeze. The misty taste of their moonshine reminds you of country roads, which lead you back home, West Virginia. Gentlemen, prepare yourselves for the fight of a lifetime. May fortune be kind and your scallions taste of spring. Are you ready to toss the official onion coin?
Yes.
The official onion coin.
Yes. I call heads, if that's all right.
I call tails.
I mean, Laurie, what else would you call?
Gentlemen, the onion gods have spoken, and the coin is tails. Okay, gentlemen, would you like to describe your formations?
Yeah, so I have playing quite an advanced keeper. I have obviously the Lord Ruler. Just next to him, almost partner really, is the Lich King. And then right in the centre of the pitch, I have John Irenicus. And then off to the right, Darth Maul. And then on the left-hand side of the forward line, I have Saul. So pretty standard 5-a-side formation, really.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Lawrence.
So I also have King Boomy quite advanced as a sweeper goalkeeper with 2 stacks of stones behind his goal, by the way. And Gandalf the Grey is playing in defence, but Mace Windu is not playing that much further ahead of him in midfield. And then Arya Stark and Aang are both winger strikers playing off in a 2 off Mace Windu.
Fantastic. Gentlemen, the onion gods have been good to us on this most wondrous days in the search of fictional truth. In 3, 2, 1, we shall begin. Lawrence, you have the ball.
So Gandalf the Grey casts Blinding Lights.
Okay, John Irenicus counterspells it.
Having had his Blinding Lights cancelled out, Gandalf then creates a smoke screen and lays the ball off for King Boomy to come rushing up on an earthbending slide to cross the ball.
Cool. Okay. Response. Counter, I suppose. With the Lich King, I summon the Frozen Winds of Northrend, which chills the pitch, freezes the AstroTurf, brings the biting cold of the north to it. And this, I feel like, given my team is adequately prepared, wearing warm thermal clothing would not affect them quite so much. And then with John Irenicus, again, I cast Haste, which allows all my players to move faster.
Lawrence.
At this point, the smoke screen is still in effect, so nobody can see the ball, but Boomy can sense it on the earth. Even though the earth is frozen, it's still made out of earth. Boomy detects the ball, and Earthbend crosses it to Aang, who is running forward to catch it. Aang can also, as an Earthbender, feel when the ball comes down and will be the quickest to it.
Okay, so the Lord Ruler burns tin, so he's what do you call him? He's an Allomancer, he's a Mistborn. He burns tin, which enhances all of his senses. So he enhances his sense of hearing, and he can just hear the ball moving through the air now. And then he taps into one of his metal mines and reduces his own weight. And then he pushes himself off the metal frame of the goal and flies at Aang in a sliding challenge to take the ball from his feet at approximately 200 meters per second. So I don't know how good Aang's reactions are, but
pretty damn good. He's the avatar.
I mean, he's covered this distance in less than 0.1 seconds. So
he can turn on the spot. He can predict that slide tackle coming and turn on the spot and deliver an air guided cross, which is what he's going to do next.
I think my guy's moving faster than the human mind can react. So like Aang has not processed the challenge coming in. This guy's moving far.
Denied. 2 monoliths squared off against one another, the Lord Ruler and Aang. Gentlemen, we are going to have to roll the holy D20 in order to see who escapes with the ball in this particular circumstance. Edward, you successfully need a 12 in order to be rolled for this to occur.
This is the tense bit.
The holy D20 is spoken. It is a 16. The Lord Ruler has the ball.
Fantastic. So now I have Aang on his back, right? This little monkey. And then, so.
On his back?
Well, just behind him, right? I guess right. Or like just by his side. So the Lord Ruler, again, reduces his weight. And then he starts burning pewter, which increases the strength of his muscles. So now he can run, let's just say fast is the speed in which he's running, under the effect still of haste by John Irenicus. So he, darts up the ring. He's in the opposite corner in a blink of an eye. At which time,
not quite yet. The Lord Ruler takes a turn in order to burn the metal and begins moving in that direction. Lawrence, it is now your turn.
Okay, but Carter begins making his run.
What happens then? Mace Windu comes across to intercept the ball with a sliding acrobatic kick, while also King Boomy is preparing to use some.
Can I counter that? Yeah. So Arthas directs a beam of frozen magic towards Mace Windu, directed out of Frostmourne to slow his movement, so Mace Windu just doesn't get there in time. Just as if he's moving through tree.
Okay, so Gandalf is already there in position because Gandalf hasn't moved. Gandalf has drifted backwards after delivering the ball to King Boomy to set up Aang in the first place. Gandalf is already there and uses "You shall not pass" and intercepts the ball off the onrushing Arcus.
Would that throw him backwards? Would that also throw the ball backwards though?
Gentlemen, the Gandalf's "You shall not pass" causes a shockwave, knocking the Lord Ruler back, of course, but as discussed, the ball also goes flying off the pitch. Edward, into the long grass. Edward, it is not.
Yeah. Okay, so who am I going to get to do this? I will send Carcer out to get the throw in, and I'll move Darth Maul into the box, and I'll have John Irenicus just between the box and the halfway line. I'll have the Lord Ruler as a short option. So Carcer gets the ball. He's eating a raw onion that he's found very delicious. These magical onions, and then big, powerful overhead throw. I mean, this guy's just ridiculously strong. This thing flies like a bullet straight to the feet of Darth Maul as John Irenicus makes a supporting run from his position to the other side of the box.
Gandalf provides the interception to pass it straight to a non-rushing Mace Windu going the other way.
Counter, can Darth Maul just force push him away and then take a shot? If Gandalf's closing him down, right, he can just go boom and then take a shot.
Yeah,
but from counter, Gandalf can equally use magic. A push going back from his staff in the other direction.
Gentlemen, because these are two fairly even, this is a fairly evenly matched contest. Edward, if it's 0 to 10, it's your victory. Lawrence, if it's 11 to 20, it's yours.
I mean, you could just do odds evens, but yeah, that works too, I guess. Whatever you prefer.
There is only a holy D20. Do not defile the Church of the Red Onion with your slander, please. It shall work against you today. Unfortunately, despite your slander, the winds have worked in your favor. It was a 4.
Cool. Okay, yeah, so he takes his shot at goal from the edge of the box. I don't know, he's what, like 6-7 meters out, probably, based on his pitch size. However, yeah.
Lawrence.
At this point, I have a counter. King Boomy uses an Earth Shield to block the onrushing ball.
Edward, given the nature of King Boomy's rebuttal, you need an 18 or higher in order to successfully make goal.
Can't I just say he aims at top bins?
Yeah, but that piece of earth can that earth ball.
Are you putting an earth ball in front of the entire goal?
Not in front of the entire goal. A mini earth shield to go in the direction of the onrushing ball, and King Boomy can detect because the Darth Maul will be kicking it. King Boomy can just read. This is why he's such a good goalkeeper. He can read your feet as to where you're taking that shot from and exactly what point you're going to strike. So he can predict where that ball's going better than anyone.
The ball flies through the air and nearly makes goal, but just chips the edge of that earth rock and goes flying off.
It's a corner? All right. So I'll get Carcer to take this. I guess he's got the most powerful shot. I will have Darth Maul on the far side of the box and then the Lord Ruler just outside the box. And then I'll keep Darth Maul on the... No, sorry. I'll keep John Irenicus on the halfway line. And then Lich King still bouncing around my own penalty area. So now, Carcer will send the ball in swinging, and I'm going to aim to do the Lord Ruler flares his tin, enhances his senses, can feel the path of the ball traveling through the air. He gets his muscles ready, gets his weight ready. And what he does is he drops a coin, then floats himself upside down, like on back to the floor, and he's just going to do an overhead kick. But he lines everything up, feels the ball coming in, angles himself, floats off the coin.
Given the circumstance, Lawrence, you will have the opportunity to make a quick counter just to affect the roll of the D20.
Okay, so in this case, Mace Windu would be challenging for the header, can rise up, acrobatic, and heads it. I imagine as the ball's coming in, he can jump higher than the person who's waiting for the cross to come in and heads it onto Arya Stark.
Could I counter that myself and say Darth Maul pulls Mace Windu back towards him as he attempts the header?
Given the circumstance and the Lord Ruler's prowess in these situations, you need a 13 or a higher.
I haven't had this one good dice roll yet.
I know. It's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, my friend.
Karma works in circles. That was a 3.
That's a 3. Oh, my days.
You kick the ball, it rebounds off Boomy and stays in play.
So Earth guided kick to an onrushing Ang who goes whizzing up on the other side of the field to go towards the direction of the ball. Arya Stark is also running on the outside at the same time with him to support his run.
Counter, so the Lord Ruler does his thing again, lowers his own weight, pushes himself above his goalpost. Not to tackle Ang, but to get into position, block his vision, cover the cross, sort of thing, because he's going to try and cut across Arya. And then John Irenicus begins making a track back to watch Arya's run.
Ang releases the ball before Eddie's guy has had the chance to rush up to him, to Arya Stark, and she's running up the pitch to with this other guy who's also tracking back to goal. But Mace Windu is supporting this run as well. So those two are now on rushing to goal.
Cool. So has Ang given the ball to Arya Stark?
Yeah.
Okay.
Arya Stark's
John
dribbling with the ball.
Okay. Counter. John Arenicus casts
Yeah.
Time Stop and just tackles her because she can't do anything.
Time stop.
Yeah. He's a level 30 wizard, Laurie. What do you want me to do? And he's under the effects of haste.
The
And
levels of nerdiness.
Frozen Winds of Northrend still here, so he can definitely capture.
Okay, so Mace Windu just force pushes him off the pitch for using such a derpy move.
Unfortunately, Mace Windu, that's a foul.
Fine, I'll take it. I mean, that is how I feel of the opposing numbers player and his move and the story he comes from. That's why I haven't read it.
All right, so this is who's from a video game actually. John Arenicus laughs at Mace Windu and calls him bald. Okay, so I'll put the Darth Maul in the center circle, and I'll have Carcer and the Lord Ruler in opposite corners up top, and I'll have John Arenicus just offering a short option. I will take the short option, and as I take the short option, I will cast invisibility on the ball with John Arenicus. So he's passing to John Arenicus, and John Arenicus is turning the ball invisible.
Okay, that's easy. Casts an earthbending spell, an earthbending move, forcing a lot of like soil to come from the other outside the pitch, and sprays it onto the area around John Arenicus's feet, highlighting the ball, and then sets fire to it to show where it is.
So I mean, so the ball's destroyed, right?
The game resets.
Okay, yeah. So I'll take the kickoff for John Arenicus, and he will take the option right on his line of passing it to the Lord Ruler's feet. And we've got Carcer making an overlapping run, and then he will chip it to Carcer, who's going to try and do a jump header from the edge as he gets onto the ball on the edge of the box.
Gandalf casts a spell on the ball to uses an energy blast to push it away from its intended target and into the feet of Mace Windu.
Counter, can I use Darth Maul to pull the ball to his feet as it's traveling through the air?
Absolutely.
So now the ball's going in a different direction. And Mace Windu and Darth Maul get locked into a forced grab duel over the ball, putting it in status on the floor.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it falls, halfway between both of them, I guess? Cool.
At which point, King Boomy does an earth slide to where the ball is, rush goalie movement to chip it in. Mace Windu, being the only person to seem to have kept his sense in this situation, goes for the ball and starts dribbling upfield in a forced dribble of uber concentration.
Cool. Forced dribble of uber concentration.
Yeah, let's say he's at the middle of the pitch running full pelt to the other side. Aang and Arya are distracted. Gandalf is going, come on, get your heads back into the game.
So I will respond. So the Lich King, I didn't realize we could do this, will raise about 6 inches of ice in front of my goal to block it off so Laurie can't take it.
But now we are left to see Mace Windu is on the edge of the D with no opposition, but a huge ice ball in front of him. He throws his lightsaber and then kicks the ball straight afterwards.
Okay, counter. The Lord Ruler just pulls on Mace Windu's lightsaber and takes it.
Mace Windu pulls it back with force grab and then sends it like a boomerang back in the other way. Counter.
Okay, a D20 needs to be rolled.
Yeah.
So.
And the Lord Ruler also increases his weight as he does so that his force, the power of his pull is magnified.
Given the circumstance of the shot and the situation, Lawrence Mace Windu needs a 13 in order to make a successful shot. Gentlemen?
I need a 13 out of 20.
The Onion gods have spoken, and gentlemen, it is a 13 on the dot. The ball goes into the goal.
Yeah, fluke.
As the situation stands, the Onion gods are smiling kindly today amongst the humble heroes that have challenged the villains of the multiverse.
Mace Windu wheels away in quiet dignity back to his team to prep them ready for the inevitable response of the opposing villains.
Okay, so I will kick off with, I'll kick off with John Arenicus, and he'll pass the ball to Carcer. Carcer has like a knife on he has a knife around his belt and then his moccasins. So he receives the ball, starts charging forward, and the Lord Ruler just pushes him forward. So he's charging forward at hundreds of meters per second, just towards the goal. He's just going to run it in, just power through.
Lawrence.
Okay. Well, which one am I going to
Bear in mind you have about 0.2 seconds before he crosses the distance in which to do whatever you're doing, based on how quick he's moving. Yeah. I mean, he's probably quicker than that, but let's just say it's 0.2. This is about as fast as a human mind can process information.
Well, King Boomy anticipates his movements like coming on the earth because he can pick up his foot speed and detect where his feet are going to be, and creates a boulder basically to block off his entire route for him to come smashing into.
Castle runs through the boulder,
How?
and he's because he does stuff like that. That's just what he does. Like,
he runs through a boulder. He runs through a boulder bigger and heavier than him. It doesn't impede him in any way.
But with the momentum he's got, he's traveling at hundreds of meters per second. This guy is like a rocket.
Gentlemen, Casa makes a near unstoppable move, and it would take a miracle in order for the move to fail. He charges across the field. The holy D20 is rolled, and with a roll of 10, it ultimately succeeds. He sprints through the floating balls of earth, charges into goal, and the game is even.
I think that's a little ridiculous.
I mean,
Lawrence, the ball is back in the hands of your team. This is the tiebreaker. Whoever scores here wins the cup, gains the mantle of greatest fantasy football team of all time.
Since we are dealing with that, Aang's reaction to that is to get really pissed off because, of course, it is stupid. He goes into the avatar state. The surrounding players on his team arranged him in a defensive position, and he Lionel Messi through your entire team because you can't get near him in the avatar state. Anything you want to try and counter with, he will deflect with any one of the elements he wants to choose. He is far too OP at this point for you to stop.
Okay.
And he goes for a goal.
Counter. So I mean, if I see Aang, like he's just dribbling up from the halfway line, right? He's just going to try and silent it in. Yeah, John Arenicus just casts a Rapture of the Father and kills him. Right, he's dead.
Rapture of the Father.
Yeah, it's a spell that he invented himself. It's in his spell book in Baldur's Gate 2. I have game files to back this up.
I mean, I thought this was the nerdiest part
Unfortunately,
episode of all time already, but that's brought us down, isn't it? That's just a new layer that we've sunk into, I think. Anyway, go on. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Aang the Airbender, hero of at least tens of children across the world, passes away in essentially a mound of pulp and bone matter, not fitting to what was once a great hero. Fortunately for you, a red card has been passed onto the other team, and they are now forced to play with 4 players. Lawrence, you get to bring on your substitute. Edward does not.
So Chewie's on the pitch. Yeah.
And the game has turned into a 5-4.
Gandalf goes into the midfield. No, Gandalf goes further back into defence. Chewie takes up a position in the midfield alongside. No, actually, fuck it. Chewie's in the defence. Gandalf and Mace Windu are now the midfield with Arya as the sole striker. The ball gets passed to Mace Windu, who starts to force dribble up the team with Arya start making supporting run.
Okay. Okay. So Casa goes and body, like, just tussles with Mace Windu, uses his bulk and his speed and his own skill to try and jostle him off the ball. So jostling for the ball, yeah?
You're jostling for the ball. This guy, this no-name is engaged in a football duel.
It's the Knight of Chains, Laurie.
No one knows, no one cares, Eddie. Chewbacca comes up in a pile driving run and just smashes his stupid ass like out of the way.
Oh, that's a foul, surely.
That is absolutely a foul.
But he gets the ball. Chewie gets the ball.
No, but Mace Windu had the ball. You just pushed my guy to the ground.
Gentlemen, we're going to roll a holy D20 for this.
I really think you're underestimating Casa.
Yes,
unfortunately, I'm going to give this a classic case of 0 to 10 villains, 11 to 20 heroes. So the holy D20 is being rolled, gentlemen. The onion gods have spoken. It is a 19. Mace Windu has the ball.
Mace Windu dribbles up the pitch. Okay, so Arya Stark is making a run. Chewbacca is also making a run. This is the support for Mace Windu.
He's ahead of them all, right?
He's ahead of them all. But Chewie is that quick. Like Arya Stark is like running on the wing, and Chewie's coming up through the center. Mace Windu stays on the ball, protects it using force control for Chewie to run past him to cross it into Chewie.
Okay, well, I mean, that's a lot to happen without me having any sort of rebuttal. So I will say the Lich King goes and marks Chewie, given they're about similar sizes. I mean, he's a bit shorter, but he's bulkier.
All right.
And then Darth Maul is on Arya, and then the Lich King is on Chewbacca, right? They like rush forward and see the run, and Cass is still...
Okay,
like,
Mace Windu sees this
Windu.
play developing, takes the ball on further like himself. I think Arya Stark would just run through Darth Maul, like underneath him, around him.
Really?
Yes, I think she's too quick for Darth Maul.
Hang on. So if Mace Windu is so great because of his Jedi senses and his force-assisted dribbles,
Darth Maul's absolutely.
Darth Maul's got all the same stuff. So how's Arya just going to slip around him?
Because
like,
she's
the same way
quicker.
who would? I disagree.
No,
gentlemen, we've reached an impasse. We're going to have another roll of the D20 again. I'm going to call it within this particular circumstance. I'm going to say that anything from a 0 to a 12 is Edward. Anything from a 13 to a 20 is Lawrence.
Okay.
Right.
It's a 12. It is a 12 on the dot.
Cool. So, wait, what's that mean? More intercepts, yeah?
But but that just means that Maul stops Arya from getting forward. The ball is still with Mace Windu. He hasn't crossed it to anybody yet.
What? That's what you said you were doing?
No, I just said as a side thing, I thought Arya Stark would beat Darth Maul in the race.
But I mean, even that's absurd. If you're saying Mace Windu can do a force-assisted run, how would Arya beat Darth Maul in any race? That should be 1 to 20 me. Like that's,
because I mentioned it's a force-assisted run, but it's more because he has control of the ball at his feet. Arya Stark, as a human being, is still quick enough, I think, to outwit.
No, because force speed, Laurie. You've played KOTOR. She's not going to beat Darth Maul in a foot race. There's on no planet will that happen. Not even the Magic Onion one.
Yeah, but then like Darth Maul still got to get her. She'll just nip. She like he won't catch her. Like Arya will just.
I can't believe I'm saying this in this episode of all episodes. But you need to live in the real world, mate. Like,
is that what you're doing with Malazan? Is it? So Chewbacca is being marched by Lich King. Who's Lich King then? What's he can do frosty things? Is that
frosty things and undeathly things? Yeah.
Frosty and deathly things. Okay. Well, I still think that if Chewie's bigger than him, couldn't he just like if Mace Windu crossed the ball to Chewie, couldn't Chewie hold the Lich King off while attempting a shot on goal?
You could definitely attempt to. So hang on. So what's happening? So you're crossing to Chewie, and then Chewie's going to try and keep the Lich King behind him with his arm, and then take a shot while this is going on.
Yeah. Well, he's just going to hold. Yeah, he's going to hold him off with one big Wookiee arm.
Okay. So you're crossing into Chewie. Yeah.
Yeah. To attempt to take a shot.
Counter. The Lord Ruler. So Chewie has his bandolier that's got metal on. The Lord Ruler just pushes him backwards as the cross comes in, and the Lich King collects it.
Because he has mastery over metal. Was he Magneto?
Yeah. No, he's much better than Magneto. But basically, you can kind of think of him as Magneto. But he's he's got a lot more to his toolkit.
So Mace Windu's crossed the ball to Chewie, who's trying to hold off the Lich King to take a shot, and the Lich King apparently is Magneto. So
no, not the Lich King. The Lord Ruler. The Lord Ruler pushes because Chewie's wearing metal, isn't he, in his bandolier? The Lord Ruler just pushes him back, and then the Lich King collects the ball.
I'm tempted to kill one of your players because they're just so.
Do it. I dare.
I really do. I've got to this point now, but I kind of do want to keep all my players on the team.
In that case,
I anticipate the next stage of play. The balls with the Joris Warris, the Lich King, the Lycan Fairy.
The Lord Ruler will make a surging charge, push, lighten to the halfway line, and then Darth Maul will pass the ball into his stride as he goes there. Oh no, sorry, the Lich King passes the ball in his stride as he goes there, and then Darth Maul will move into the sticks.
As you are both repositioning yourselves and moving across the pitch, you hear a horn blowing from the trees where the wild onions grow aplenty. As the pungent breeze continues to move across the land, a blue-skinned troll emerges from the trees. And before flinging 4 wooden wards onto the pitch, he raises his middle finger at Arthas, and then he chucks 2 of these wooden wards in each half of the pitch. As he descends back into the forest, you notice that all magic has now faded away from the pitch, the only remaining area being the horizontal 10 meters at the very center of the field. This anti-magic emanates from these wards that have been chucked onto the field, and you may continue.
So magic now only works in the center of the pitch.
Yeah.
But obviously, in the center of the pitch, you can still burn pewter, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to have the Lord Ruler burn pewter, massively increase his weight, aim a shot for one of the top corners. Seeing how there's no magic, you can't do this wall rock slab thing, and they're just going to have to rely on their own agility, right? The Lord Ruler's just going to take a shot and stand there.
Yeah.
Laurie, a shot has been made. How do you counter it?
So
remember, it's the hero's final chance to prevent the villains from winning. If they score this goal, the game is over.
So King Boomy naturally goes to make the save, but the thing is, while he's not able to conjure rocks up on the spot to defend him, magic has been prohibited. You can't still pretend he's magic. That magic prohibition doesn't make him not an earthbender. He can still detect things in the ground because that is just naturally who that's who he is. That's not using an ability or trying to change the environment around him. That's just him. So you can't like take that away from him. He is able to use that to read where the ball is going to come from. So he's got a better chance of detecting it.
A 0 to 11 is a success for the villains. A 12 to 20 is a success for Boomy.
All right.
Agreed? It's a 17.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
Boomy saves it. However, due to the very strength of the ball, it essentially breaks one of Boomy's arms. So he's now working with a singular arm for the rest of the game.
All right, fine. But he kicks it out to Gandalf, who's now got the ball. Gandalf the Grey, who has the ball at his feet, does a long cross up to Arya Stark. Mace Windu is advancing into that side of the field at the same time.
So he's crossing it in the air?
Yeah.
Can I have the Lord Ruler just shoot himself into the air and intercept it in midair?
What?
I mean, this is what he can do. He can push and pull off metal. So.
However,
but there's no metal. He's not put what metal
in the center of the field.
Yeah, but every Mistborn carries coins, right?
They carry coins, yeah.
This is like second nature. They just like slip them out. They have holes in their pockets. They slip them and then push as they're doing it.
Yeah, but coins are not heavy enough to.
No,
that's not enough.
No. It successfully works. It successfully works.
He's got some coins in his pocket, and he uses them to go fly in the air.
Hang on, no. Yeah, Laurie.
This is why your fantasies are crap. Anyway, go on.
He can make himself lighter, so he can push himself further. Like he can manage his own weight and push and pull off metal. So he can shoot himself a mile into the air.
How is he able to change his own physicality? Like he's a shape.
No. He's
you have to read the books.
Yeah, you have to read the books.
So he's able to. He's Ditto from Pokemon, is he? And with dash jumps at the same time. No, so he's shot up into the air, and he's morphed into whatever he needs to.
Yeah. Like I mean, this is all. It makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
So it makes as much sense as Avatar.
And Ditto Hydra from the Malazan Chronicles is cartwheeling in the sky. Okay. Gandalf lobs a fireball at him. I've had enough.
You can't. There's no magic. The Lord Ruler. He intercepts. So as he intercepts the ball midair, I'm guessing. I mean, this is a lob, right? So this isn't going to be super high in the air. Boomy's got a broken arm. Can he just do the same thing and take a power shot from there?
Yeah, absolutely. Given Boomy's broken arm, I'm now going to say that a 0 to 17 is a success, and 18 to 20.
This is the definition of a Jose Mourinho team. It just takes all the fun out of the situation.
Oh, don't say that.
Spoken like a true Tottenham fan.
Mourinho's great. All right. Okay.
The ball has been kicked. King Boomy attempts to intercept it. Let's say a 0 to 16 is a success for the villains. A 17 to 20 is a failure. The holy onion die is rolled in the pungent wind. Gentlemen, a victor emerges as it's a 15. The villains, despite all the criticisms that have been drawn by the opposing heroes team, end the game 2-1. It's been a close fought affair. We've nearly destroyed the virtual multiverse that we have created for the sake of finding this truth. But unfortunately, darkness rules today. Gentlemen,
I'm
it's
actually
well
quite
played by
happy
the
because
book.
I think my team, a great, the Brazil 1970 equivalent of a fantasy team, a great bunch of heroes with innate chemistry, brilliant moves, came very close and should have won against the lamest bunch of sad stat merchants I have ever seen in my entire life. I've never seen anything quite like
Oh
this.
my
It
God.
was as bad as I was
Amazing.
expecting, Eddie. Well
Amazing.
done. You are the Jose Mourinho of fantasy.
So I have something prepared. John Arenicus walks out of the changing rooms, and then he casts shape change on himself and turns into Aang, who obviously died about 5 minutes ago. And then he lowers his trousers and takes a shit on the floor. Yeah,
Due
and
to the
that's what
fact
I'd like to.
that
That's what I'd like. Yeah.
due to the
Basically-
fact that children are present and the fact that Aang is really over 100 years old, the Onion police arrive on the scene.
Oh no!
led
I
by
just...
Spring Onion
Not the
himself,
match,
and using magic-defying handcuffs, arrest Aang or John and drag him away.
Like,
What would
it's
have
just
been-
a classic Ed's team, isn't it? No joy.
Oh my!
Just
What do you
done
mean
to
classic?
achieve.
I've
Just
never
done to
made a
achieve
team.
a result.
Hang on, a classic Ed's team. If you see my football manager says, is 17-year-old Argentinian boys. Right? That's a classic Ed's team, which I have none of.
Unfortunately, the forces of darkness have seized the day today, and we have lost a brave soul in Aang, yet there has been some justice by the fact that John, the almighty wizard, has been arrested by the Onion police.
I'm
Forces of
vindicated.
darkness,
I know that I had a
villains.
team that everyone came to see.
So Carter walks out. He says, "I came, I saw, I witnessed." What else? I did have some stuff prepared, but the joy and the spectacle of the occasion's kind of gotten to me. I think it's a close fought affair. The heroes did themselves proud. I look forward to wiping the floor with them next time.
Iris Stark makes a little aside going into the tunnel. I was like, I can't believe nobody found me with a single pass. I didn't get a chance to do the Night King dash, which
I
is
know, shocking.
very disappointed about.
I mean, in many ways, that's kind of up to the manager, isn't it?
All right,
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening in on what has been a most insightful quest for fictional truth. We now move forward to a regular segment of the Red Onion Show, which is the Scummion of the Week. Edward, I believe you would like to take the reins on this one.
Yes, I mean, anyone, I guess it depends on the day you're watching, but no one would be surprised to see in the news today that Dominic Cummings has once again been a scumbag and a scummion. And so he's my very proud choice today. I mean, where do you start with the guy? He's kind of the big guy. Originally, back in February, he was the one pushing for herd mentality. He put himself on all the scientific panels, even though he's got no scientific background, and politicized the process, despite the Conservatives telling everyone else not to do that. And then the lockdown rules, which he helped come up with, this committee, turns out he's been flouting, and he flouted them multiple times. He has defended it. The Conservative cabinet has all defended this. Some backbench Conservative MPs have said, well, of course, he should be fired. But I mean, this is Boris's walkie-talkie in his ear. He's not going to let this guy go because Boris, as we've seen, has one or two IQ points that fell out somewhere that he seemed to have, that Cummings has replaced for him. So I don't think he can do his thinking without the man. He does look like a second-rate James Bond villain, Dominic Cummings, and maybe that would be enough to put him in this list anyway. But yeah, he's just scumbag, isn't he?
Looking at over this last particular week and ramming up in pressure, the uncertainty of people, what jobs do you go back to, like the pressure on some to go back to work and not others. Yeah,
one of the really upsetting things. I mean, I didn't have much faith in the BBC anyway, but I mean, you got the BBC They all say, oh yeah, he had to travel because his wife was sick, and because he was working a lot in government, he wouldn't be able to look after their child. So he travelled to his parents' house in Durham. His brother-in-law lives in London, and if you watch, I've had the news on most of the day, and you watch these shows, this will get mentioned once every few hours, right? Most people don't watch more than half an hour of news a day or something, right? So most people don't hear this, and they just think, yeah, of course he had to travel. There's no one else to do childcare. Childminders aren't working. He had family in London. He didn't have to travel at all. There was no excuse for it. Absolutely no excuse for it. But the Conservatives just won't back down. The cabinet's refusing. They just back their man because he's basically the ideas man in the Conservative government. And a lot of the things we don't like today are straight out of his head. I mean, there was the time when they were trying to recruit more advisors for the cabinet, and he put the notice out, and then he interviewed someone who very openly, you Google the guy's name, he's massively into eugenics, and this was a scandal at the time, and then the guy didn't get hired in the end. He vetted this guy, saw this, and decide, yeah, this is fine, kept him anyway. And that kind of tells you Scummion.
Absolute Scummion.
A most fantastic choice, Edward. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this particular show of the Red Onion. Once again, I am referee Owen Ion, and I look over all cyber matters of truth. Ultimately, I look forward to speaking to you all again soon. Thank you for your time, gentlemen, in a very closely fought contest, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
This is the fucking game of onions. This is the fucking game of onions. This is the fucking game of onions.
Just stay your normal voice, Ralph.
Okay, but so many identities to me.
The Red Onion, an effervescent look at the deflated world, was recorded by Laurie Briggs, Adric Marnham and Eddie Landon, and is a silly enterprise you've wasted an hour of your lives listening to. Don't be disappointed, you can waste it all over again next Saturday when we discuss a fresh new topic.